ലൈവ് പോവാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞേക്കോ? സെഷൻ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞേക്കോ? അല്ലല്ല, വെയിറ്റിംഗ് റൂമിൽ നിന്ന് ആൾക്കാരെ കയറ്റി തുടങ്ങുമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞേക്കോ? ഒരു
Yeah, so we are inviting the participants and accepting them to the meeting room. Right now they are in the meeting room.
അതില്ലല്ലോ.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the special session on that actually we plan as part of the Women's Day celebration for 2020. We know that some of you are connecting through our YouTube channel and whether it's visual platform that you are connected through. So, a warm good afternoon to one another. There was a time when people select, especially the undergraduate students, institution. Especially they go for prestigious institution only because of one factor. Like placement opportunities are available only in these kind of colleges. But right now we are in a situation where you don't have to worry about the placement. Like whether you study in a remote engineering college or an art and science college, if you are talented or if you are skillful, you don't have to go behind the recruiters. The recruiters will come and go. Thanks to technology or technological platforms, which offers you a very good connect between these youngsters as well as these kind of employers. So today, as part of the Women's Day celebration, we are bringing to you a very unique opportunity to interact with very special team and in India. They are actually coming and talking to you about how can you connect or grab these kinds of opportunities. don't have to do much, but the only thing is that connect to a LinkedIn platform. So that gives you a lot of job opportunities. In today's session, I'm handled by two personalities. Anup Temon. Anup is working as a regional director of academics and government relations. And then we have Sneha Naik. She's the senior account director of talent division. So on behalf of everyone in IC Academy of Kerala, I extend a warm welcome to our team, Anup and Sneha. So over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this introduction. It's first of all, happy Holi to everyone if anyone is celebrating or interested in celebrating Holi. So I think this year there has been a little change. Sneha and me, we are operating from the Mumbai LinkedIn office. So Maharashtra is celebrating Holi today. And I think rest of India is celebrating tomorrow. So I think if 1 hour back, you all would have seen us. We both would have been in a different avatar after playing Holi. Yeah. But I'll take a little while to just probably introduce myself, and I'll just hand it over to Sneha also. My name is Anup Menon, and I have been with LinkedIn for more than 7.5 years now. And I've been working with multiple segments of the corporate world. It is working with the search and staffing industry, working with corporates, working with academics, working with the government right now. So something which I often do is take similar sessions, which we enable the people who are there in the ecosystem to create good LinkedIn profiles and use the LinkedIn platform to the optimum level. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. And, with the virtue of the fact that Sneha and I take a lot of interviews and discuss a lot of things with multiple corporate world, we get a lot of nuggets from the industry, which we are happy to share with you. And that's what we have kind of brought this in the presentation. I'll quickly hand it over to Sneha for a quick introduction, and then I'll take you through a few slides which we consider is important, and it will be very beneficial for you in the long run. Sneha, over to you.
Thank you, Anu. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. It's always a pleasure to do something for an institute based in Kerala. Have a special soft corner for the students of that region. Like Anup said, I've been with LinkedIn too. I'll complete nearly 5 years now, so I've been here for a while. I've been in sales my entire life, pretty much. In my current role, I work with existing customers of LinkedIn, and I help them grow by leveraging the power of the platform. And so like Anup said, because we do a bunch of these interviews and similar sessions, we get direct ground level feedback on and insights from students like you, users like you, and companies who are using the platform. And something that we're very passionate about is how do we kind of help students just like yours to create a digital presence, enhance it, and leverage the tool to the best of its capabilities. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Anup, right back at you.
Thank you so much, Sneha there. Having said that, tomorrow is International Women's Day, and we thought, this could be a great platform for us to introduce you the entire evolution of social media, not going into the depth of it, but just giving you an idea on what exactly is social media doing for the industry. Okay, and then we will transition into why LinkedIn, because that's exactly the reason why we are all on this call today, and the social engagement and the ways to engage on LinkedIn, because that's where we see that there is a gap in few of the understandings within the segment, because a lot of people think that, my journey with LinkedIn probably ends the moment I start or I have a LinkedIn profile created, whereas it's the total opposite. Your journey starts when you create a LinkedIn profile. Okay, because that's where magic starts happening. That's where a lot of people, you become visible to the larger world. And that's exactly what we are going to do now. Yeah. So I'm going to jump right into it, okay, because I think we've got around 40 minutes with us and 45 minutes with us, which we're going to split it between Sneha and me. And we're going to take you through this explanation on social media connected to LinkedIn and then connected to the ways of engagement. Yeah. So this is something which you may all have noticed that today's world, when a student or anybody goes to buy something in the market, assume you want to go and buy a phone today, a mobile phone. Before even you going into a shop or before you logging into an Amazon app, you already know in your mind what kind of a product you need, what configuration, what brand. You're just going there to do that final transaction. Correct. So this is a proven fact that 57% of the decision to buy is already done before you come in contact with a commercial contact with the business. So I'll also give you an example. A couple of months back, I had gone to Goa for a vacation. Yeah. So like any person going on a vacation, we do our bookings much in advance. Okay. And in today's world, how does booking happen? You log into any of the travel portals, you do your booking, you'll read reviews. The day arrived when I was in Goa, the hotel next to me was brilliant. I felt that what a mistake I did. But then I found out that the bigger challenge was not mine. The challenge was theirs. Why? Because that hotel was not even there on the travel portal at all. They were not registered. They were still following the traditional ways of operating, traditional ways of booking. And because of that, they had low bookings, which was very obvious. Correct. So what happens is whatever is visible, that's what is sold in the market, or that's what is, that's what you go to buy in the market. Correct. This is exactly what a social media is doing today, enabling you with good content, enabling you with right elements for you to move or have a great life ahead. But social media can be split into different segments, because we have a LinkedIn, we have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, we have a Snapchat. Where would you as a professional spend most of your time is something which is more critical. Yeah. You can just imagine why is it so important for everyone to create that brand? It is important because you are today trying to position your best in front of people. Correct. So I always like to say this to a lot of these students and a lot of professionals that when you are at home and when you are idle, the one which is doing the marketing for you is your LinkedIn profile. Okay. And what does your LinkedIn profile do is kind of bringing your profile up in the minds of people so that whenever they think of a requirement, they should think of you. Same way, if you look at this, I don't know how many of y'all, are passionate about certain brands, Now, I've taken a very common example of Nike versus Adidas. You can think of a Pepsi versus a Coke, a Ford versus a Ferrari. What do these people do? These are fantastic brands, but they are trying to get a human connect. They're trying to make themselves top of the mind so that the moment you think of buying a shoes, you should think of a Nike or an Adidas. The moment you think of buying a car, you should think of a Ford. So what every individual is also trying to do is create a brand and bring that human element into that. Because what do you mean by a human element is nowadays when I take interviews or when I discuss with organizations who take interviews, one thing they're interested in is your academics and all that, right? How much percentage you've got, where are you from, which college? But more than that, they want to understand your cultural fitment. Do you fit into the ecosystem of my company? Okay, that's where your values, your vision, mission, everything comes into play, because everyone wants to understand that what is your goal in life? Okay, is your goal just to earn money and help your family? Is your goal to achieve something in the next 5 years? So what happens is in social media, this is exactly where the change happens, wherein you're trying to tell the world that I am meant to do this, I will do this. You may have seen a lot of people on TikTok. Sorry, TikTok is banned now. So maybe a YouTube and, Instagram Reels. So they're all creating something so that they can tell the world that this is what I am, this is what I do, so that anyone thinks of this person, he should be able to relate. Yeah. But like I said, every social media has its own differentiator. So for example, if you're on Facebook, you're thinking of friends, family. If you're on Twitter, you're talking about politics and elections and everything. But when you're on LinkedIn, your thought process is more to do with how can I improve my professional life? Okay, how can I get a job? How can I switch my job? How can I talk to my peers? How can I talk to my old batchmates? What are the latest trends in the HR industry, or what are the new technologies coming up? Okay, what are the new technologies which my peer set is learning? So this is a common saying within our social media terminologies that when you put in 2 hours of your time on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it is called as you spend time. Correct. You say that I spend time on Facebook, I spend time. But in LinkedIn, it's a little different. In LinkedIn, you say that I invested my time, because anything you read on LinkedIn, it can be used in your future. It could be your interviews, it could be in your conversation with your professors, or you're doing an internship, because everything is posted, everything is connected to you by employees, okay, or professionals. So whatever they post with a concept that, is it relevant to you? Is it going to be informational to people? Is it going to be enabling you to have better discussions? So this is why people typically log into LinkedIn and stay active on LinkedIn. Yeah. Now, what are the three basics of LinkedIn? Okay. Now, obviously, most of the social media platform works similarly. Okay. But in LinkedIn, basically, it works with building your connections first. Okay. It's like if you don't build your connections, okay, it's more like you're trying to advertise yourself in a desert, which means you've put up a huge hoarding of yours, showcasing your profile, but there is nobody to watch. Correct. So you need to have connections, and connections are not made overnight. Okay, this is a big journey, a long journey, which you need to take so that you can progressively keep increasing your connections. The connections as simple as you send somebody a connection request, he or she accepts it. Okay. Today, if anybody randomly sends me a connection request, I actually go through that person's profile. What is it? How is it? And all. And my way of accepting a connection request is completely dependent on your profile, which we're going to cover today. Okay, Sneha is going to cover today. The second most important thing is how much of these connections are posting a lot of content, and how much do you absorb through these. For example, if I am connected to, say, X number of people who are from the social media segment, they keep posting content. Okay. And what do LinkedIn members do? They read this content, and they are more ready for the industry. They are more aware of what's happening in the industry. And this is the biggest advantage. And once you're more aware, that's where you'll engage. That's where you will start taking actions. So, you can think of, you have a map. Okay. You have the fuel. Okay. And you have a car. You need all three to actually reach a destination. And these three will not work without each other. Like, for example, if you have a fuel in the car, your movement will be directionless. You need a map, correct? If you have a map and a fuel, I don't know what you're going to do with it because you don't have a car, which is the entire engagement element. Yeah. So you can think from that. I have a car, I need the fuel, I need the map. And this is exactly where LinkedIn is trying to take you. Yeah. So see, what is the real concept of LinkedIn here is get connected to as many people, because each and every connection of yours serves you or offers you something at different stages of life. Okay. Whenever you're accepting connections, think that how this person can add value. Nowadays, there is a trend that a lot of people whom I meet come and tell me that, Anup, Facebook has become LinkedIn has become more like Facebook. LinkedIn has become more like Instagram. A lot of people are posting different content. I always tell them it is a function of what kind of people whom you have as your connection. So, for example, if you are into, you're a software engineer, you go and accept connection request of a person who earns his living through motivational speaking. Okay. Early in the morning, when you open LinkedIn, you'll get a lot of motivational speaking content. Okay. It is basically because you have a person who is a motivational speaker, and for him, his quotes, his way of presenting himself is that way. Okay. So that's how he earns his bread and butter. Okay. If you have a fashion photographer who's a friend of yours, whom you added to your connection, he or she will post a content of theirs because that's how they earn their bread and butter. Yeah. So your connections is basically those set of people who will actually add value to your career. So always be very mindful of what kind of connections should you have. Okay. So on LinkedIn, there are few things which typically happens. Okay. One of the major things which happens is hiring. Okay. Because in LinkedIn, it doesn't really matter. There is no single purpose for which people come on LinkedIn. Okay, people come here for jobs, people come here for networking, people come here for sales, people come here to understand new segments of the market, to have a global outreach. So the objective here is build your professional network and connect to the world, because you don't know at what stage people will be of any benefit to you. Yeah. Now, this is something which I always love to say to most of the students and most of the young professionals who are there. Today's world, especially after COVID, professionals have become more aggressively active on LinkedIn, especially on LinkedIn. Why? Because it is very easy for us to shift online now, which we have seen in the last 2 years, from 2020 to 2021, 22 almost. So you cannot be very passive towards social media. You cannot be very passive towards LinkedIn. Why? Because in absence of a physical connection, these are the things which typically voice out what kind of a professional you are. Okay. So like the great Marshall Goldsmith said, what got you here won't get you there. Typically means all those things which has made you reach here are not sufficient for you to be taken to the next level. Okay. And it is common for everyone. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why people say that you need to constantly evolve. You should constantly learn. There is a concept called as continuous learning, which LinkedIn has introduced. And I'm sure a lot of you people would be using the tool, which is LinkedIn Learning. Okay, which may be available to you, or else it's otherwise also available in the free market, which you can actually go and procure or subscribe to. Which the concept is very simple. You cannot stay alive or active with the kind of basic education which you have. You have to continuously learn, which is what is going to make you more adaptable to the newer markets, which will make you more relevant. Because as you see, by 2025, most of the basic skills which will be going off, and there'll be new skills coming in. But if you have a mindset that I am not ready to change, or I don't learn, or I don't do things in a newer format, that's where I always say that what got you here won't get you there, because you have to have a linear journey in your career. So which means you will have a straight movement with a lot of movement, with a lot of progressions, career swings, and multiple things which will be beneficial for you in the long run. Yeah. So hence, the biggest reason why we recommend people that you should be active on LinkedIn is each and every time there are instances where people are going through your profile, the journey has completely changed. You may have seen like 5 or 10 years back when you were applying for a job, or your parents were applying for a job. Okay, there was an instance wherein you had a word copy resume, and with the word copy resume, you will start going into companies, giving those word copy resumes, and waiting for them to call up. Today, things don't work that way. You are always visible. Once you have a profile, there are people always looking at you. It is your responsibility to present your best. Okay. It's your responsibility to say what are the things you know, what are the things you don't. Okay. It is your responsibility to tell that these are the advantages, or these are the values which I bring onto the table. And that's exactly where the biggest difference is, how well you create your LinkedIn profile and how beneficial is this for you for the long run. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap it and probably hand it over to my colleague Sneha, who's going to take you through the next journey, which is more on the networking and how do you build a good profile. So basically what I have explained to you is how important a LinkedIn is in today's world for professionals, especially women. Okay. Next step is, how is it that you can create a good profile, and what are the few tips and tricks related to LinkedIn? Yeah. So Sneha, what I'll do is, should I stop sharing my screen and you can bring in yours so that it will be a seamless thing for you to present. Yeah, I'll just stop sharing.
All right.
Yes, over to you, Sneha.
All right. Could you all confirm if you can see my screen?
I can.
All right, perfect. Now, firstly, thanks, Anoop, for everyone on call. Hopefully by now you understand just how important having a digital professional presence is. It is your identity when you are not available to talk to the people that you want to connect with. Be it someone from a company that you're interested in, be it a recruiter, be it a peer, right? Which makes it really important to have a stellar LinkedIn profile. So where do we begin? We heard about the why of having a digital presence, and now let's get down to brass tacks and look at a few things we can actually practically do to enhance our presence on the platform. First things first, you've got to have that account. I hear from Anoop that a lot of you already do, but for those of you who do not yet have one, after the call, I hope you go onto your browser or download the LinkedIn app and go register and create an account. We've got a beautiful mobile app, by the way. A lot of the smartphones that you get these days come with the app by default. So the first thing is to kind of register and create that account for yourselves. Next, before we get into how to create that profile, I want to clarify a couple of things just so it's clear for you too. There is a lot of difference between a LinkedIn profile and your resume. Your resume is profile is so much more. It talks about the professional you are. It talks about the journey you've been on, the experiences you've accumulated over the years at your educational institute or in your work experience, the accomplishments you've had in those years. And it tells the person looking at the profile what kind of person this is beyond just the information that's available on the CV. And that's how you need to treat your LinkedIn profile when you're creating one, okay? So just wanted to clarify that this is not a resume and you need to create it slightly differently. How do you do that? It's very, very simple. A few things that you need to keep in mind when you start creating your LinkedIn profile. Make sure that you're putting a high resolution photograph in there. Profiles without photos, put yourselves in the shoes of the people that you try and connect with. If you get a connection request with someone who doesn't have a well-created profile, no photograph, would it look credible to you? It most probably won't, right? So you need to have a good picture there. Add your location so people can say where you're from. Put a summary in there, which kind of talks about what you've done so far, what you're passionate about, and what you intend to do in the future. I'll leave you with a short tip in case you're wondering what exactly needs to go behind your summary. Create a 3-line summary to start with. It does not have to be too complicated. Put 1 line for your past experiences, what you've done so far. Put 1 line for what you're doing currently, and put 1 line for what you plan to do in the future, right? That's really simple. A 3-line summary, more than enough. Put something about fill in the experience section. If you worked somewhere part-time, or if you had some experience before joining this institute, or if you worked somewhere in any capacity, profit, non-profit, make sure that you're adding your experience there. Make sure that you're adding your certifications in there. If you've gotten if you've had accomplishments, if you've been recognized for some work that you've done, make sure you're putting it there. Do not shy away from sharing your accomplishments with your peer set on LinkedIn. Make sure you're using photos, presentation, and other media. So like I said, when you're creating your experience section, it's always a good idea to insert media if that's available, just to kind of make it a lot more compelling. Again, put your educational qualifications in there. If you have been given referrals, by the way, this is if you have got recommendations from people that you worked with, maybe your professors, maybe someone that you worked with, go ahead and add those recommendations too It just goes on to show that you are a credible person. You've earned the trust of a colleague or a professor or a peer, and that it's worth showcasing. If there are endorsements you've received, you can, if there are skills you've added, make sure that your peers are endorsing those skills of yours. Again, adds to your credibility and helps you create a much stronger LinkedIn profile. A lot of these things, as you start filling your profile, you will yourself receive prompts to fill up those things in your profile. So just make sure, a simple tip is to make sure that everything that you see there is a prompt is filled up by the end of that exercise where you're creating your LinkedIn profile. If you have created a profile already and you feel like you didn't do a good job of filling it up the last time, revisit it today and see what else needs to go up there. If there are interests you have, go ahead and follow companies, influencers, and groups that reflect your interests. Interests show a softer side of yours. For someone looking at your profile, it will tell them what are the things that you're interested in beyond your work. So again, really important to follow companies or people or pages that you're interested in. So that's a very quick, brief summary of how to create a LinkedIn profile. When you filled in everything the way it should be filled, you create what we at LinkedIn call an all-star profile. That's a profile that is then ready to be viewed either by a recruiter or by anyone that you're trying to connect with. And a well-filled profile generates much better engagement than one that's unfilled or incomplete, right? So that's the first thing to do. Download that app, create that profile. Next, now you've got that profile ready and you're good to go. Now you're wondering, how do I start this networking journey of mine? You've not done this before, right? And we totally get it. Start with the simpler things. Go follow your own institute's page on LinkedIn. They've got a beautiful page. They're very up to date. They're posting a lot of really good content. Go follow your institute's page on LinkedIn. Go start liking their posts. Start resharing those posts. If you'll notice, social engagement actions on the right-hand side are things like liking a post, sharing it, commenting on it, or reposting it. When you start doing this, you're already starting to put up content of your own by taking something that's already created and then sharing it with your respective networks. So go do that. That's the best place to start. But if you want to create content of your own, there are a bunch of ways you can do that. And there are different types of content that you can create. Now, the three most popular ways of putting up content pieces are articles. These are basically long form articles that you can put up if there is a topic that you're really passionate about and you have a lot to say on it. Go ahead and post an article on it. If you want to do a series of these articles, go ahead and start a newsletter too. That's a fabulous way of showcasing your thought leadership on a particular topic and engaging with like-minded people. So think about it. And if you have a lot of topics that you're really passionate about and want to talk about, start that newsletter or post a long form post. Short form post. If you do not have the bandwidth or time to create long articles and content pieces, go ahead and post short content on LinkedIn. It can be something that you learned. For instance, it could be today's session. You could talk about the fact that you attended it, your takeaways from it, and that becomes a short form post. Video is again a really nice way of putting up content on LinkedIn. In fact, we've seen that video generates the most engagement in comparison with all other forms of content on LinkedIn. And you know this yourself, we all love our short videos. And so go ahead and put those short videos if you have any. If you cannot think of a long form article for now, or if you want to start immediately and you have a video instead of a short form content piece. So those are the few ways in which you can put up content. Now, the different ways in which we are seeing students and professionals engage on LinkedIn is, firstly, they talk about their industries related news, updates going on in their respective industries and what's new there. You can talk about some milestones or achievements that you may have to celebrate. You can create a post on that as well. If there's any corporate presentation or a presentation that your institute may have created or a white page that you may want to share, go ahead and do that too. Likewise said, more than welcome to share your own point of view on something. If you have the bandwidth to go ahead and do that, you can share your point of view. You can offer insights drawn from your own experience. And there are a lot of takers for that kind of content. If you've gone through some experience and you have some takeaways from there, go ahead and share that with your network. And that's a great, great way to build thought leadership around a particular topic. You can curate articles that resonate with you. Go ahead and share articles that you relate with or you feel would be relevant to your peer set or to your audience. A lot of the content, by the way, on LinkedIn is non-curated. Only a very small percentage of the content is curated. So if you're wondering, how do I start? I don't have the time to put up a video. How do I start writing long articles? That's all right. Take content that's already great, that's already published on the platform, and just start reposting it. When you're reposting it, put up a few thoughts of yours or what you think about it and post and share it with your network. So these are just a few ways in which we're already seeing students engage. And that's something that you can use too. Where can you get your content from? Again, LinkedIn is a resource content goldmine. I personally absolutely love my LinkedIn feed. It's the first place I go to in the morning when I need to get quick updates of what's happening in my industry, the points of view of my peers and industry leaders. I also get my information on latest trends in my industry from LinkedIn. So absolutely spend some time on LinkedIn, follow the right people and the right pages, and you will start to see a difference in the newsfeed quality that shows up for you. You obviously have your news sites like your Economic Times, Times of India. You can get your content there also. There's a lot of information that's posted there. Maybe you can use some article there and create your own content. There are published reports that you can use. There could be reports that your own institute has posted. Maybe you can take content from there and share it. There are newsletters and blogs that you can use. So like you can see, there is absolutely no dearth or limitation of information available on LinkedIn and generally on the internet. You can take any content piece, share it, repost it with your thoughts and get started on this journey. But the most important step is to take that first step towards your journey. So do not shy away from posting on the platform. To make it easier for you and to get you started on your professional journey, we've created a hashtag for you today. So this is IN, which stands for LinkedIn, IN with ICT AK, which is your institute. And even if a few of you after this session could put up posts with your experience of the session and your key takeaways from it, we'd love to see those posts personally, wouldn't we, Anu?
Absolutely, absolutely. And Sneha, what I'll do is I'll quickly go online and also show them a few things on where do you start this post. So what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen once again. And but before that, thank you so much, Sneha. I mean, that was a real informative thing in terms of the switch over from a profile to resume part. I'm going to share my screen once again. Just give me a second. My screen is visible to everyone? I assume yes.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. So now we've given you too much of information on what to do, how to do and all. I'm just showing you a little bit of live session on how do you really start this entire process, okay? If I switch to Sneha's initial part of the discussion, which is more about creating and editing your profile, once you log into your LinkedIn, okay, you can get into the edit section, which is once you click on your name, it will bring you to your editing mode, okay? On your editing mode is the place where you can kind of fill up all your details required. For example, you need to add content on your header. Now this is something which I keep changing after every 4 or 6 months. Depending on what am I doing or what are the special things which I'm working on, I can change that. There are a few interesting things here. For example, you being students, if you want to showcase to the world that I am job seeker and I'm looking for a job, you can use this section called as an open to. If you click on open to, it will tell you open to finding a new job, open to providing services, which means you are offering some kind of services to the industry. It could be any professional service which you are engaging in right now. And the last one is, are you hiring? Are you looking for people? Yeah. So for example, if I am doing this, I can also have certain frames. You may have seen a frame coming on the photograph, which indicates that I'm open to work and I'm hiring. It is basically from this segment here. Yeah. So please take this segment very seriously, wherein, you can edit. And for example, if I show you here, one critical thing whenever you're adding your content is, for example, if it is education, if I go into my profile and if I edit it, okay, always select from the drop down, which means if I'm doing this, see this, I am not writing text. I am selecting something here. Okay, and then I click on the save button, which means this is what is called as a tagging. Okay, which means my college is getting tagged, or I am tagging my college. So whoever comes on my profile and clicks on my college logo, it'll indicate me as an alumni there. Same is the case with your company also. Whenever you go, or if you have any kind of experience and if you're putting it out there, you can come edit it. Okay, and when you're editing, make sure you're picking the company from the drop down. For example, if it is LinkedIn, I will not just write plain vanilla LinkedIn, correct? I'm writing LinkedIn and I'll pick from the drop down. If in case you want to bring it, what will you write is ICT Academy of Kerala. See this, I always pick from the drop down. It's only when I pick from the drop down, then only it will get tagged. Tagged means when anybody who's going through my profile, okay, once they come here, they can actually click on this logo of LinkedIn. In your case, it will be ICT Academy of Kerala. They're taken to this particular page, what we call it as a company page. In your case, it will go on to the ICT Academy page, which is this page. Like Sneha said, okay, always have a tendency to follow your own company. Okay, now this is the place wherein you're getting your education from currently. So come here and follow this. When you follow this, that's when the content which is being posted by the institute, okay, will keep coming in your news feed. Okay, so all these content will keep coming, and that's where you will start liking it. You can comment on it. You can repost it. Reposting is, you can do reposting by putting in your own thoughts, or you can do a vanilla reposting, or you can send this to somebody individual. Okay, you can do it depending on what you can do the way you want. Okay, so these are few things which I thought I'll just bring up to you, but it's very important for you to follow the institute, which tells you that once you follow, you'll keep getting content. You can switch it on and off the notifications, whatever is convenient to you, you can manage that way. Yeah. So Sneha also brought in one piece, which she said that you can also use a particular hashtag and post. Now you see this on the top. This is the place where you will post your content. For example, your posting journey starts here. The moment you click here, you can actually bring in a photo, video, event, and you can do multiple other things. If you want to celebrate something, if you want to put in a poll, or you want to position a job here. Now, this is where the entire content posting starts. What is a real hashtag? Hashtag is typically you're giving a unique name to the content which you are posting, so that in the future, you can easily trace back that content, or anyone else using that particular hashtag, they can reach out or they can easily find your content. How do you do the hashtag? Like Sneha mentioned, is you use this hashtag in it with ICTAK. Got it? The moment you do this, it automatically becomes highlighted. So in the future, whenever you want to search this particular, assume after 2 months, you want to come and check what happened to the post which I had posted. It will be very difficult for you to trace it back. So what you do is, if you remember this, you will just come here and just put it in the search in it with hashtag, and then you hit the search button, you'll see all the posts which had this particular hashtag. So it's basically becoming convenient for you to search also and to trace back also these hashtags. Yeah. So these are the few basic things which I thought I'll just tell you. And what I'll do is I'll take a pause here and I'll also stop my screen share. And I'll be happy to take any questions if there are any, via chat, or if anyone wants to unmute and speak up, whatever.
Are you ready here?
I'm happy to take any questions, anything which is coming, anything which you thought about, or any other questions which is coming into your mind. Happy to answer any questions.
Anu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so one thing like those who are connected to this particular session are attending certification programs in ICT Academy, or they are enrolled to degree and undergraduate programs in different institutions. It would be nice if you can tell if there will be upskilling in certain areas like any specific technology domain. So how can they showcase their learnings into the LinkedIn profile? That would be great if you can mention some of the tips in which they can showcase their skill achievements.
Okay, so I'll take that question, Sneha. So my recommendation is a couple of things. Okay, so I'll tell you, most of the corporate world today, they use LinkedIn to do their recruitment, okay, to hire people. And they have tools with them with which they run certain keyword searches. Okay, for example, a TCS, a Wipro, and Infosys, they all use LinkedIn tools to do recruitment. They take a special tool from us with which now they put in certain keywords. For example, they'll put Java, they will put Spring Boot, they'll put Jira. Now, where do they search for? Basically, they are searching for your entire profile if these keywords are there. So as a suggestion, I will always recommend that put in these skills. There are skill section is there, especially wherein you can add these skills. Beyond that, if you want to emphasize on these skills, you can put it in your summary. Okay, because the summary is the place where most of the action happens, a lot of searches, because you can elaborate on the skills, how long you've been learning those skills, what are the depth of the skills, how much of a depth of a skill you know. So my recommendation is put it up in your summary, put it up in your put it up in your skill section, and make a point to add or keep reviewing this every 3 months. Because the pace at which people are learning things, if you wait for the entire year to update, most of the things you'll forget to write on your LinkedIn profile. So what we recommend is every 3 months, look at your editing section of your profile, go through what you have written, just have a trace back and understand what are the new things I have learned in the last 3 months, bring it here. Because the pace at which technology is evolving, if you don't really update your profile, you're missing out on opportunities for people to reach out. So, sorry, long answer to a short question, but I hope I was able to cover.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. So, there are a couple of things which I'll say is very important for a fresh or a newly, a new, what do you call, an early professional. First, you cannot be a one message wonder on LinkedIn. Okay, means what? Today, I want something, I want a job. You cannot come into LinkedIn today and start searching. Your journey should have started long time back. Okay, so for example, if you are in your first year, second year, third year, doesn't matter. But LinkedIn, typically like any other social media, there is something called as a rule of 7. Okay, so I'd like to explain this to you. What is a rule of 7? Rule of 7 is in any social media, it is applicable to LinkedIn also. It takes 7 instances for a person to respond back to you. Okay, so for example, if assume today Sneha doesn't know me and Sneha reaches out, I will ignore, because Sneha is a stranger to me. I don't know anything about Sneha. The moment Sneha starts engaging with me, she comes and likes my post, she's commenting on my post, she's reaching out to me as a cold out or a very specific outreach that you wrote a post I really like. She's not asking for anything. Okay. So she's just trying to create that interactions with me so that one fine day after X number of whatever period, she can ask me the real thing which she wants. For example, it could be a job. It could be a testimonial. It could be an appreciation for something which has happened in the past. So always remember that you cannot expect returns. It's more like a gym membership. Okay. You take a membership to gym, it doesn't mean you'll have a fancy body. Okay. You have to go, you have to pull all those, or take all the weights and do all the efforts. After a period of time, you'll see the benefits. LinkedIn is exactly that. That's the reason, like Sneha mentioned, creating a profile is just a beginning. After that, things starts for you, so again, my message is don't try to be that one message wonder. Like, I wanted a job, I wrote to this guy, he never responded back, so I don't think this platform is working for me. Never be in that impression. Do something called as continuous engagement. Continuous engagement will help you to do several things. Remain top of the mind for people, for you to boost your confidence that I'm not shy of writing on LinkedIn, or I'm not shy of outreaching to people. So I'll just recommend this because I have seen this happening a lot.
So next is not a question, but this is actually something that we observed while interacting with the undergraduate students in campuses. Mm-hmm. So when we discuss, especially as part of some of the social media training that we do in campuses, students actually they are very strong in platforms like GitHub, as well as if it is Kahoot or similar platforms. They engage in these kind of platforms, contribute to these kind of platforms. But when we talk about creating LinkedIn and sharing all these achievements there, so they said that actually we do have a very strong GitHub repository. We have a good handle here. So why we go and do it or create another platform? So what is your thought on this?
See, every platform is very important. Okay, GitHub is important. There are so many other platforms wherein you're showcasing your skills. All those things are important. See, I think we've covered one small topic, or one small line I think Sneha mentioned is your profile is doing the work of a marketeer, which means you're doing all great things, which is good. But how will we bring this out in front of the market? Is through LinkedIn. Okay. Now, let me tell you one thing, that the number one community who spends maximum amount of time on LinkedIn, you know who it is? It is basically the HR community, the recruiting community. Okay. What is the recruiting community doing on LinkedIn? They're always in hunt for people who are doing excellent in their organizations, who are academically brilliant. Okay. Because everyone wants the best talent. Okay, let it be the smallest of the small company, let it be the biggest of the big company. They all want the best talent. So what we are trying to showcase here is it is a foot in the door. Okay, a LinkedIn may be just an entry point for you, for that recruiter to give you a call. Okay, once that call is made, then comes the presence of GitHub and all these, what are the great things you've done, what are the projects you've completed, what are the number of hours you've completed and all that. So LinkedIn is that social platform which is giving you that visibility, which is working like your marketing or your personal manager, for you to be reached out, for you to be visible. And then comes everything. It's like a big umbrella under which you have certain segments. which is connecting the dots and trying to get you that job. So this is what I'll say. I don't know, Sneha, anything to add there? My thought was that.
Actually, absolutely, Anup. Pretty much what you said, and I'll just add a little bit, sir, to that. A lot of the companies that we're working with today, your TCSs of the world and your Wipros of the world, these are companies that are increasingly now telling their recruiters that they do not want the CVs of the candidates. They want to look at their LinkedIn profiles. And so it becomes critically important for young professionals to have filled out LinkedIn profiles that talks about not just their educational qualifications, but also the experiences they've had so far. What have they worked on? What are their skills, accomplishments? Because increasingly people are turning to LinkedIn to get a sense of what that professional is over and above what's seen on that static 2-page resume of that person. That's one. Secondly, let's say I'm a candidate and I reach out to a recruiter and I say, hey, I'm interested in this job at your company and would you be open to a conversation? Now, this recruiter, like Anup said, when he gets a connection request now, he will scan the entire profile before deciding if he wants to accept that request or not, because he wants relevant people in his connection feed. Now, this recruiter is going to do exactly the same. Before responding to the candidate, this person's going to go to their profile, regardless of where this candidate has approached them from. Go check out their profile, try and get some more information about them. Decide whether this candidate fits the open role that they're hiring for, and then reply to them. So most of the decision making is already done by the time they reply to that candidate, which means it's really important. So when you are not there as a candidate to talk about why your LinkedIn profile does that for you. So it is your digital presence out there, which means it's really important for students to work on it.
And just to add to what Sneha mentioned, there's one story which is very local to LinkedIn. So we had somebody who was in a college in Mumbai, and he was a 4th year engineering student, 3rd year, 4th year kind of. And what he did was, from his 3rd year being in engineering, I think he was in a BE computer science course, he started engaging with the leadership of LinkedIn. Okay, so he started writing to people that, this is my dream company to work with. And, I want to get engaged, or I want to kind of work and come and talk to you. He started setting up time with people internally. Now, this is kind of a fearless approach, wherein you identify this company, you yourself write not to the HR, but to the leader of that company and say that I want to have a conversation with you. And I need to showcase what is it that I can bring onto the table. So our leader was very happy to do this, have a chat, and eventually he got a job here. So it is more to do with how easily you can communicate to people. So you're not at mercy of who reaches out to you. You're more taking ownership of your own career and reaching out to people proactively and saying that, hey, this is the reason why I'm here to discuss with you, and these are the few things I've done. So again, it is a foot in the door. Foot in the door means you're taking an entry through LinkedIn. After that entry is done, then all your academics and all your brilliance and all the GitHubs comes into play.
So there's a question in the chat box.
Sure.
Asking the difference between paid and free services, and which one is more beneficial for the students.
Sure. So in LinkedIn, so we have two kind of service. One is a free LinkedIn and second is a paid service. So in free service, what happens is typically a free one is meant for basic level networking. What do you mean by basic level networking is it has limited filters. It will enable you to reach out to your first and second level connections. Okay. And the moment it gets exhausted, the moment you say that, this is at a free level, this is good. Now I want to get into an advanced level networking, which means I want to go beyond my second level connections also. And now I want to engage with people beyond my network, which is third and beyond. That's where you have to pay money to LinkedIn. So I'll give you an example. Okay. So for example, if you want to engage in say Kerala, you want to talk to say 1,000 HR. Okay, there are 1,000 HR. Let's take an assumption. Okay. In your free LinkedIn, or in your own connections, you have connected to like 50 or 100 HR people. So which means when you are trying to run a search, it will be those 100 plus their additional level 1 connection, which is very limited for you. So you're trying to send with whatever limited source you have. But there are 1,000, your scope is only 200. So that's when you will upgrade it. You'll upgrade your platform for a free to a paid. So now system will give you more powers. You can go beyond your second level. You can get into third. You will get a little bit more filters, and you will get more in LinkedIn Premium. When you take it independently, you will also get LinkedIn Learning as part of it. And so there are added benefits. So I think who's asked me this question, Ramya, my answer to you is, it is totally in what phase you are in. If you are in the beginning phase of you using LinkedIn, I will never recommend you to take any additional any paid service. But you've been on LinkedIn, you've been doing a lot of activity, you've been posting content, and now you feel that I want to reach out to more people. I think free LinkedIn is limiting me. That's when you go ahead and take the student premium. In the premium also, you have two. One is a student premium, second is a business premium. Always go with a student premium connection because that is sufficient for you. The moment you feel that also I'm exhausting, then go to a business premium, because business premium gives you more in-mails. In-mails means without sending a connection request to a person, you can directly write to that person with whatever communication you have. For example, if I'm not connected to Sneha is the head of HR of XYZ company. If I have an in-mail, I can directly write to her, because I feel that if I send her a connection request, she may just reject my request. I'm just a student, correct? So why will she engage with me? So you take an in-mail. With in-mail, you can directly write to her. A small paragraph, you'll write to her that I'm a student, I'm doing this, I want to have a conversation with you regarding a job opportunity. You're getting it? So Ramya, it's totally, if you ask me, is it beneficial if you take a paid service? Yes, I feel it is beneficial, but it will be beneficial if you've already reached that level of using LinkedIn. But if you're planning to create a profile now and start that journey, please wait and understand how LinkedIn operates. Then go and take a paid service.
All right, so thank you, Anu, for answering those questions. And I completely agree with you on the previous question. So we also recruit people by looking at their LinkedIn profiles. So specifically, looking at the skills that we see that into their profile. Very helpful in that aspect.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, it's a pleasure from our side also. I mean, we got to talk to a group of people, bunch of people, and especially on such a special day. I know, I mean, we could have done this tomorrow also, which is the International Women's Day, but we are happy that we are doing this today as a precursor or the eve of the Women's Day. I hope it was beneficial, and I hope people have good takeaways and people will start using what they've learned. But thank you so much for having us.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, don't worry that we will be recording the session and we will share it through our social media channel tomorrow, so that a larger audience can also be reached. So,
no problem. Thank you so much.
So what
Thanks.
on behalf of Quality Academy and all the participants and the institutions that we are connected, we extend our heartfelt thanks to both of you, Anu and Sneha. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to the LinkedIn team.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. And bye from me.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.